Welcome to Seaside Quilting Tutorials. I'm Barb, and we're here to do another one of our sampler quilt blocks. This one will be the Ohio Star with a little something different in it. To start out, we are going to need 4.5-inch squares of our background and 1 5.5-inch square of our background. From our main fabric, we are going to need 2 5.5-inch squares. And then if you'd like to change the center of your fabric to a different color, which is what I'm going to do, we'll call it a second contrast, that is 4.5 inches. And then your main contrast is going to be 5.5 inches. So you have one that is going to be here, and you have one that's going to be here. This can be the same as this if you like. You don't have to have another fabric. If you do, just make sure it's a nice match to this. And with this, you do want to have some contrast. You don't want it to be too close in the colors where it'll blend in too much. You want to be able to see a little bit of contrast in it. So think about that when you're picking your fabrics. And of course, your background, you want it to stand out, not blend in. So make sure your background is either lighter or darker by several degrees to what the main block is going to be. Otherwise, it all blends in and you can't really see what we're going to try and do here. So let's get started. We'll put aside our 4 blocks in our center. We're going to take our contrast and our background, and we are going to go right sides together and put our main fabrics over them. Now, with our Frixion pen or whatever marker you'd like to use, go ahead and draw a line like I did from end to end. We are going to go ahead and sew 1/4 inch on each side of the triangle. Let's go to the machine and do that. We're at the machine now, so let's go ahead and sew this. Because I have my tape here, I don't really need to even draw the line. I just would line the center up on the red and on the red back here, and then just feed it through knowing that I was getting my 1/4 inch. So on here, I'm going to line it up because I have my needle centered, so I don't have to move my needle. I'm going to start right there. There we go. Lined up. Needle down. And we'll go ahead and sew. Now, if you go a little extra, don't panic. I always make my blocks a little bit bigger to trim down because sometimes, you know, it gets a little wonky under the machine and you're so close and you don't want to cut off a point or something like that. So that's just a habit I have. And we'll just take this and turn it around, line it back up again. And let's see here. Let's sew the other side. There's one. You can see our line sewn. And now let's do the other one. Line it up. needle down. I love this tape. It just makes life so much easier without having to mark extra lines, and it really does speeds things up tremendously what you're sewing. Needle down. Let's do this side. And yes, I still have my walking foot on because I'm working on other projects as well. Doing some free motion and some stitch in the ditch, so there we go. Okay, now we've got our sew lines. Let's take it over and give them a trim. Okay, now take our little clips off. Put them over here. And we'll go ahead and give this a cut. Right down the middle. And the same here. Right down the middle. Now, we'll take our main fabric and we will finger press to the dark side. And the same thing with this one. And now you're going to learn how to do quarter square triangles. We are going to open this one up, press it to the dark side, finger press, and this one as well. Now, we take this and we'll take this and we'll put them opposite each other, just like this. So your stitching line is running up and down. Excuse me, I'm doing this backwards. Let's take our main fabrics here. And we have our accent fabric or contrast fabric. We're going to take one. We're going to take the main fabric of this and lay it on top of that, on top of the peachy pink. And you want to make sure you feel this like just snap together. They just fit right in, they just lock in. That's very important. We'll go ahead and put a pin in there, but not too close. We put it up here. Make sure that is locked together. And we'll get another pin. And we'll put one in over here. There we go. Let's go ahead and do that with this side as well. We're going to lay them on top just like that. And we're going to lock the seams together. Let's see if I can do it from the light side better. Yeah. Okay. That's locked, that's locked. Let's see down here. You can feel it. They just fit together so nice. But that's something we learned in one of the first lessons. Locking those seams is everything to having a beautiful block. Now with this, it seems locked together. We'll go ahead and put one here. And we'll get one more. Let's turn it around. And we'll put it right here. Now, move that out of the way. This is what we're going to do. We are going to draw a line down the middle of the main fabric with the background. And I'm going to move my pen out of the way so I can do that. I can always move it back when I'm done. Right down the center. Now it's important that when you do this, your line here your seam line is also straight. So line that up. I prefer the dots. That's a little too hard to see through. There we go. And I want to line this up. Now, if your corners aren't straight, don't worry about that. You want to make sure this is. And we'll take our Frixion pen. And we'll mark that. We'll go ahead and move our pin back over. So that's done. Now we'll do it on this side. We'll take this pin out. And we need to line up the line here on the white where the seam is. Make sure this is straight going across. And also for the corner. But like I said, don't worry about your corners too much, because we have plenty of room to square it up. That's why we always cut them a little bigger. Okay. And we'll put this back in. Now I'm going to go to the machine and sew on both sides of these. Let's go. Now, making sure the seams are locked, I'm going to go ahead and put my pin in here. Just to keep things still. I don't want it to get too close to the sewing. Make sure that these are locked. We'll move this one over here. There we go. Now we're going to go ahead and sew. Turn it around do the same thing with this. Make sure this is locked in tight. Put the pin in. Yep. And the same for over here. All right, and let's sew this. And go the other way. All right. Back over to the table. Back at the table, let's go ahead and cut these. We'll go right down the line. There's that one. Here's this one. You can see mine's not perfect, so that's why we give extra room. Now, when you open these up, look what you have. You got a quarter square triangle. Now, we'll go ahead. First, we're going to twist these. Open it up. We'll flatten that out and then we'll twist it like that. And you can see it flattens out that bulk, and then just crease it down with your finger. It all just goes around like a pinwheel. Isn't that cute? You got all 4 colors there. And then just hit it with the iron real quick. Just press the seams down. There we go. Have your little center here, nice and flat. Look at that, isn't that nice? And we'll go ahead and square that up in a minute. Now let's do this one. Open it up a little bit and take a look at which way the stitches are going. Since this is open here, this is open here, you're going to open it this way, and it pops a few stitches. You just want to pop a couple, then you open it and use your finger. Well, I might need to pull it just a little bit more. There we go. And go like this. That goes down, down, that goes down, all in the same direction like a pinwheel. Push it down with your finger, and then just take it to the iron and give it a quick press. This is a good thing to do with all your 4 patches. It really decreases the bulk, especially when you're going to long arm the quilt. Makes it nice and smooth. There we go. And we'll go ahead and square these up. Let me get my smaller over here. Okay. Now, this finished will be a 4.5-inch square. As you can see, we've got just about 5 here, so we have enough to trim down with. I'm going to make sure this line is straight. I'm going to make sure that the 4.5, there we go. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Okay. There's 2. And now we'll mark this at 4.5 here. Here's my 4.5. Make sure that's straight all the way up, and make sure this line is straight. And across the bottom, my half. Whoop, I just shifted it. There we go. I try to keep a pinky behind it to hold it from shifting, and down here as well. Now, let's try that again. See how it looks. Looks good. So there's one block. We'll go ahead and trim the other block. Get that nice and straight. Okay. The reason I go backwards there is because it never fails. Whenever I start here, I hit this and I chunk it and I bust the blade all the time, 9 out of 10. So I carefully go backwards. And now we need 4.5 this way. We're lined up here, and our line is straight. So let's lock that down with the pinky and the thumb so this won't move, which I just did. And we'll move those. Now we have another block. Now, let's turn it and check it. Looks good. I'm gonna give them a quick press. You just learned an easy way to do quarter square triangles. And there's all different ways to set this. You can set them this way. You can set them back and forth. I mean, there's millions and millions of ways to do it. Let's go ahead and do the next set. Open it up a little bit. Twist it. Pop that little pinwheel in the middle. There we go. That one's a little easier to see. And we'll finger press it down. Everybody's going around. We'll press that real quick. And here's the other one. Pop it. There we go. It's only 1 or 2 stitches that you're popping. And then we'll flatten it out. There we go. Give it a quick press. Oops. And now let's square them up. The first one right up here, and let's see, looks good. Turn it around, line up the half and the half, make sure your line's up the middle. Okay, hold it securely, and there you go. One more. Okay. Turn it around, line it up. And there. Now, bet you're dying to see what the quilt, what the square is going to look like. Let's put it together. Get my right sides. There's one. There's two. I'll put this one here in the middle, just like that. There's one. Oop, wrong one, sorry. There's one. There's my center. There's my other one. Now my corners come in. And that. That is your Ohio Star with a little bit of a variation. Now, I could change things out if I wanted to. Say I wanted the regular main fabric. I'll have to move this because this one's a little bit bigger, so I'll put it in first. And we'll put these on top of it. There's that. Okay. To give you an idea, I think I just might change that. I don't think I like the purple as much now that I'm looking at it. What do you think? No. No, I like that better. You could put the coral, but then that would defeat the purpose of having your contrast here. So you really don't want to put coral in the middle, or that color in the middle. So I think that's what we're going to go with. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down, and then we're going to sew it together. So we'll move this over. And we need to make this a 4.5 inch block. 4.5. 4.5. There we go. When I was putting the colors together, it didn't seem so bad, but now that it's a block, nah, it's not working for me. That's much better. Oh, that looks much better. Now, let's take it over and sew this. So, shift it back down here. We'll clip that here. This goes here. This goes here. And because I screw things up all the time and twist them when I lay them down, so the wrong side, I'm going to go ahead and clip these together. So we know that's the top. And look at how pretty those look. Let's go ahead and sew these. Let's line these up and sew them together. That's one. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Now, so I don't have to keep cutting our thread all the time and starting it over. We'll go ahead and leave that last one under. We'll go ahead and take this off. Yep. Cut that thread. Snip these. And now let's add on to it. That's one. That will go here. Make sure I have the right side of my white fabric. Okay. And then we have this, the middle. And we make sure we sew this on here. Okay. And then we have this. Then we'll sew this on right here. Okay, throw the clipper out of the way. Now, we've got one, we've got two, and we've got three. I'm going to go ahead and press the top and the bottom seams out and the center seams in, and I'll be right back. Back at the machine, I went and gave this a press. The top and the bottom ones I pressed outward, and the center one I pressed in. Now I laid them out in the two top rows, top to the middle, locked the seams together, put a couple of pins in it. We're going to go ahead and sew this. So let me line this up. And now we'll line up the bottom. And pin this on. Lay them on top of each other. Lock the seams. And let's sew it through. Lock this seam. And we'll go ahead and sew this. Up just shifted just a tad. Here we go. Okay. Let's take it back over and square it up and press it out. Here we go. That is our Ohio star. I hope you like it. Enjoy making yours. If you have any questions, go ahead and put my name in and I'll pick it up and answer it for you. So just message me, no problem. Have fun.